Bienvenidos! Welcome to episode 3 of the Your Time Junto con Adiel. My next guest is someone that also from my hometown, a very talented and interesting individual. Without further ado, Mr. Andy Narvaez.
Hey, Drew.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, yes.
How are y'all doing, everybody? Pleasure.
I was talking and with Celinda, we were talking about high school, right? Went to high school. He graduated a year before me. Okay. There's something called one-act plays, right? And he knows where I'm going already with this, right? And they put on the one-act play was Scapino, right?
Scapino.
And he was the star of that play. And I was trying to think, like, were you doing all scripted in that play, or did you improv some of your scenes?
It was mostly all scripted. The character was a very aggressive character. It required a lot of mobility, flexibility. It required a lot of memorization, and I was in football, so all those skills put together kind of made the part what it was. And it was 45 minutes of just go. Characters just manipulating people, just trying to get things going. And it was a crazy time. And I loved it. It was a wonderful experience. I don't regret that at all. Coming from the streets and seeing Patricia Morales come over and says, "You come here." I'm like, "Who are you, man?" And then she was like, "You're the perfect partner. Let me introduce you." And she introduced me to Miss Cantu.
Miss Cantu, uh-huh.
And I said, "Hi." She looks at Patricia and looks at me. She goes, "Oh my God, he's perfect." I'm like, "What are y'all talking about? Come here, you're going to be in this play." I was like, "I am? Why? What's going on?" And they explained to me what it was. And I had no idea such a thing existed, because I was born in the country. So I was raised as a cowboy for 13 years, and that's all. I came into the city, Falfurrias, at that time. Even though I was born there, I came in from Hebbronville, straight from the ranch, and I was just trying to adjust. That's what all that time frame was for me in high school. So I was a cowboy up until I got up as a freshman in there in Falfurrias, and those 4 years get accumulated to the very end, and that's when we did Scapino. So it was quite an experience, and I'm glad when it was all said and done that I did it. So that was a lot of fun for me.
And it was great. I think pretty much the whole town, they heard about this. Hey, that's just this really talented high school actor and this play. And I think that the turnouts that they had, because y'all would present it for the school, right? And then you would have like for the public to come and
Correct.
see it.
Yeah. And then we also took it to competition.
Oh, yes.
So we went as far as state to do that. But the judge at state she was kind of biased. I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't think she's out there looking for me anymore.
Well, who's the one that she ranked as the top?
I think it was Sinton or something like that.
And what was the play? Did they do a comedy also, or what did they do?
No, they were it was all dramatic stuff. We were the only comedy team that was there, but the judge's ex-husband was Italian, and the play is based on Italy. So she was very critical of my acting at that time. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I can't compete with that. But I'm glad I did it. There's a lot of improvs too that came from it. So I was happy to be in that performance. It was really a lot of fun.
Now, after you did that, did you kind of see that as a possible future? Acting?
Coming from where we lived at? No.
You were doing it because, it was the thing to do in high school.
It was the thing to do in high school. And yeah, maybe somewhere in the back of my mind, it's like, man, I could use this. But I ended up just taking what I've learned from that and I applied it to my music. When I was on stage, I'd be dancing. One person's here, the other one's here, the other one's on this side. Two people cross this way, you go over here, you fill in the voids so that there's no empty spots on the stage. When that person comes back, you come back to the center, you come back, and it's always just going to be a mix. You're always balancing the stage. So I applied that. I applied the lighting skills. I applied all of those things to my stage performances.
Yes, yes. Speaking of that, who would you say is your musical influence?
Growing up, I did a lot of mariachi music, conjunto music, tejano music. Growing up, it was, believe it or not, Rubén Naranjo.
I never been on.
Yeah, it was Ramon Ayala,
Yes.
that kind of stuff growing up. And then somehow into that, during when I started playing guitar more, I got into mariachi music with Miss Cortez. And once we got into that, shortly after that, I had a Tejano band in Fremont called Ambición.
Yeah.
And then I joined Annette Arredondo's band. So that's how we started doing the whole Tejano bit. And then I just pretty much went gunner for hire after that. Just
Musician.
yeah, went around and got hired for different bands. You know, I could play, I could sing, so I had that working for me. I always had work, so I always did little jobs in between working as a DJ during the mornings and performing and rehearsing during the night. So it kind of worked out for me.
Wow. And so I was going to say, as far as the genres of music, I know you play in a classic rock band, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say that's your favorite genre of music? I know you'd like, and you're like me, we like all kinds, but like for instance, in your own personal time, what do you mainly listen to?
Yeah, I definitely I lean towards the classic rock a lot more now these days. But one of the things that I really, really like, and that's because I play bass and everything, so I really like funk music. Like the Parliament Funkadelic, they just have some good bass lines. And a lot of times when even you don't realize it, you're hearing music and you're jamming out and you're going, yeah, you're listening to the rhythm, well, that's the bass line you're jamming to. So musicians, they all have their part. Everybody has a role when you're trying to be in a band. The guitar player has all the bedazzle, the drummer's just all over the place, the singer's trying to wail on. The bass player is just keeping it all in control, keeping it all in rhythm. You hear everybody else, but you feel the bass. That's one of the things that I love about playing the bass, is that that's something that comes from here. That's something that you feel, and that it's very vibrant. And that, to me, you bring that from another place. And when you play from your heart and you sing from your heart, that makes it even
soul.
better.
It's got soul.
It has motion. It has movement.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of that, have you heard of fake music?
Yeah.
And it seems like it's geared mainly towards funk, because I heard Run to the Hills by Iron Maiden, but done in the style of funk, right? And that where I work at, there's a lady there from Louisiana, and of course she's black, and I was messing with that, because she was saying play some music, and you know what she said? She goes, "That sounds like James Brown."
No way.
Yeah, because it has that. But I think, I don't know, is that done by an algorithm, or are they actually musicians recording that?
It's actually an algorithm.
It's an algorithm?
It's just AI is so infused in the music industry, in different areas, also doctors, all kinds of things. But as far as music is concerned, they have patterns already in there. They have lyrics, they have vocalists, they have all this infused together. And all you got to do is just give it a command. Write me a song about this, or I want it in this tempo, using this chord progression, and you just put whatever you want to in there, and out comes this.
Yes,
and they're good songs. I'm not gonna bash it. Some of this stuff, it's really, really good, but it's missing that one component. Can you tell me what that is?
The spirit, the soul.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
can't
why
fake that.
That's like where the music, like these artists from back in the day, like from the 70s and 80s, they put their heart and soul into their art, and that's why it still stands out today.
Exactly.
And it resonates with pretty much everyone, every age group, right? Just like when I hear stuff from like Boston, right? That you hear those twin harmony guitars, yeah. It's Boston. And then, God rest his soul, was Delp, was his first name? The lead singer from Boston that committed suicide,
Oh yeah.
Is it Fred Delp, I think, or Mike Delp?
What is his name?
God rest his soul. But man, his vocals,
We tried covering one of their songs, and I was like, wow. We played it, but man, I was like,
it didn't have the same feel.
I'm gonna have to take a little break. I'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Those vocals they were something else. And yes, and to think that they didn't have the ability to go back and we're gonna record this word and then come back and record the next word. No, you had to right there on the fly, boom. You know what I mean? And then to be producing that just in one take. And so many things going, so many moving parts. Boston had keyboard, they had vocals, they had three guitars. It was always constantly just out there in your face, man. Must have been really hard. Unless you're very, very super talented, which they were, and I think that's what
the guy that produced all those albums. I know that he did all of it in his house. What was his name? The leader of Boston. It's the guitar player. Is it Schultz?
I'm horrible with
I think it's Tom Schultz is the guy.
Not get the names.
He pretty much every album they say one album took like 6 to 10 years to record because he's like a perfectionist. He wanted it to sound just right, and just like he was saying earlier, they didn't have the kind of technology they have now. You had to get it right, and if you didn't get it right, you had to retake. Like there was I don't know if you saw it. They made a movie I guess it was like a biopic on Def Leppard.
Oh no!
Back in the 80s, right? Now the record producer, I forget his name, the one that was married to Shania Twain. I forget what his name is. Everybody knows him. He's in the music industry. Of course, he's in the music industry, but but he's just like that. So, but anyway, he's the one that did Pyromania. Right?
Oh, okay.
He recorded them. When they were showing Joe Elliott that he was singing the same verse, over and over. And it was like to the point where he was just singing that one verse all day. And he was getting to the point, it sucks.
Yeah.
So when they went back, like I said back then, I guess it was analog, right? So by using several different takes, he was able to create that trademark sound and that album, I think it's ranked on like the top 25 best-selling albums of all time.
Yeah, it was Def Leppard was very creative. Even at their most unlucky time when the drummer lost his arm, they still found a way to just overcome that. Still keep it together.
And they're still playing today, still touring today,
and knocking it out of the park still.
We're talking about bands and rock bands. I went to the rodeo last year, right? And Sammy Hagar, the Red Rocker, was playing, right?
Really?
Okay, a little bit of technical difficulties there. Apparently my phone ran out of memory. It's what I'm using to record the podcast. So I went back, freed up some space, and we continued with the interview. So enjoy, Mr. Andy Narvaez. Take it away. Okay, sorry, we're back. A little bit of technical difficulties, still learning this. But we're getting back to an issue here. Both of us work in the medical field. Now, Andy, you were telling me a little bit about what you do. What is it exactly do you do that you're in the healthcare field?
So I work at a cancer hospital, and pretty much we fight cancer. So when patients come in, they get greeted by me first, and a lot of times you feel energies, you feel sadness, you feel a lot of things, and I'm in tune with those things. I've always been that way.
Like an empath.
I can tell, I guess like an empath. Yeah, I can tell when things are off, when they're not right. And so I just allow these people to kind of, I filter it through. I don't hold it in. I don't bring it home. I always have a mindset where I'm there to help. So through God, I'm able to do my work. And I do it in a way where the patient kind of leaves there with a little bit of peace of mind, at least just a little bit.
And especially it's a time when they desperately need it.
Yeah, because they don't have any answers. We don't have the answers. We have a possible solution, and sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It's tough. But my main goal is just to have them a place where they could come in, feel safe, where they could come in and vent, where they could come in and we can help them if it's nausea they're dealing with on that day, if it's another tumor, if it's something emotional, something psychological. I want to be there. I want to be there, and I think God's made that purpose for me, and that's where I'm supposed to be at this moment, and that's how I'm able to deal with it. I don't call it dealing with it. I was meant for this.
Yes.
That's what I feel in my heart. That's why I'm here.
Exactly.
in the world doing
I'm in
that.
the same line of like I'm in a service. I work in the healthcare field also. I've been working with children with disabilities and the geriatric population for 26 years, helping them to rehabilitation and in rehabilitation. And I think, like I said, we're very like-minded. We find a joy in servitude to our fellow human beings, right?
Exactly.
Because if we're not trying to be all godly here, but I believe in God as well. And doing what we do is a service to Him because it's His people, right? So that's why we find we feel happy to do it. I wake up and I look forward to my day, to helping the individuals that I work. The ones I work with are in a nursing home. Now they've been pretty much neglected or forgotten by their family. So their only, real connection to kindness and humanity is us. So that's why it's really important for us to, I've worked, unfortunately, with other healthcare professionals that see it more as a job. And like I think, do we just look at the way I tell them, what if that was your mom, your dad? How would you want them to be treated?
Well, it's a fine line between sympathy and empathy. You can't lose your sympathy because then you can't be empathetic. You have to have a fine line between both. You have to have sympathy and you have to have empathy.
Yes.
You can't do one without the other because then you lose yourself in the process. You lose who you are and the reason why you're doing things. That's why you see some people that take a death and they can just they just detach themselves from it. Like, oh wait, it's just another number because you took out. You don't have any more empathy. You don't have any more sympathy. It's no longer a part of who you are. You're able to disassociate yourself from something tragic in somebody's life, and you can go about your day. You can go about your meal. It doesn't affect you at all because your heart is not in it. You lost your empathy. You can't be sympathetic towards somebody when you lose that empathy. And in my line of work, when you do that, people see right through it. There's something about somebody when they're that sick and when they're dying, there is something that's in them that makes them acute to any other little thing. They know when you're lying. They'll know when you're giving a smoke screen. They'll know when you're stalling. I don't know what it is, but it's something about being
Like a sixth sense, they know.
a sixth sense. A sixth sense that that's a good way to put it. But when you think about it, it's like, how can you do that every day? How is that possible that you're so calm, you're cool demeanor, and how do you do that? Well, I mean, when you put yourself in a situation like that, we're going to be forgotten 50, 60 years after our death. Who's going to remember us? There's not too many people that are going to remember us that far out. So what are you going to do today for you? What are you going to do out there to make your life worth today? I haven't made a big impact like out there. You can't write a book about my life. I don't want a book written about my life. Eddie Murphy said it best. Says, I'm just a squirrel trying to get in the big scheme of life.
Scheme of things.
That's it. And I'm happy with that. I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem. I don't have aspirations to be here or to be there or to be successful with this, to be successful at that. I like what I'm doing and where I'm at. That's what it's all about. Helping my fellow man. I get to pray to God. I get to live with a wonderful family. And on top of that, I get to play my music as well. And that's why I never really did anything to try to better myself or try to get myself out of situation. I got a house, bro. I got a dog. I got a family. I got my health.
You're rich, brother.
I am happy where I'm at. I just happy. So I don't need to acquire all these things to label myself as a success story.
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't put myself at that barometer. I don't. My barometer is right here.
And just like seems to be like it's been like the topic in pretty much every episode. I think by being thankful, showing gratitude is the way to find inner peace within yourself, right? Because you're content with your situation. You're not focused on material or achievements to look good or to impress people or trying to impress yourself. If you're happy and content with your life, I think you're going to have a happier life, you know? You know, that's the key. If you're thankful, you're happy or more content. That doesn't mean there'll never be challenges, but
Every day.
if you believe in God, He'll get you through them, right?
I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
Because I've been there myself many times, you know? There's even, how can you say there isn't a God? When I was 6 months old, do you know where Henry's welding shop is in Fanfurias, where it used to be?
Yeah.
Okay. At the
My
time,
dad worked there.
Okay,
That's
there you
what
go.
brought me to the city.
Oh, well, anyway,
That place.
I was 6 months old and my parents had a 1966 Mustang. It had a back seat, but you couldn't even sit in that thing, much less put a car seat. And my mom was carrying me, right? So we're going right there at that intersection where Henry's welding shop is at, right? A drunk driver comes and T-bones us on my mother's side. I fly across and end up on the floorboard, you know, where the gas pedal and the brake is, covered in glass. My mom had a compound fracture in her leg. My dad, you know, since most of the impact was on her side, so he just kind of banged his head and had a cut on his forehead from where he hit that steering wheel, I think it was. And I was covered in glass. But you know what? Not a scratch, not a broken bone, you know.
Amen.
So how do you explain I'm still here?
Yeah, there's no explanation. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
You know,
That's what it is.
he meant me to stay here. I got a job to do and whatever that may be. And I think it's servitude, or not servitude, but like, you know, service to my fellow human being, right? And I enjoy it.
There's a reason why that didn't happen, why it wasn't anywhere. So there's reasons why all the time. And I think these situations put us, fate puts us in these situations to see how we react to them.
Yes.
I'm a firm believer in that. And that every day fate intervenes. And you got to know where it's coming from and what direction it's going. And it's not that it's difficult. There's just so many things that affect the thought processes. I think electronics, electricity, living the city life, a fast-paced life, all of that, it takes its toll on you. You need to go out by the river and just chill for a few days, enjoy nature, go out for a walk, and that's put your electronics away and just recharge yourself, because you can't be around all this energy. This energy flows. It flows all the way through us, and it disrupts everything.
The digital world, forget about there's a real world. There's real people, real family members, real friends. So always reach out to, especially I've been guilty of myself. So I say, like, you know, hey, I should call this person. I should reach out to them. Maybe go see them. And then for some reason you find that you didn't, and then something happens. It's happened to me. Like, Voodoo, right? Bobby Garza. Mm-hmm. It's funny, like, he had reached out to me a couple of times, and he's been somewhat controversial on social media, right? But I know deep down, he's a good guy. I grew up with him, right? And so something was telling me, like, you know, like, hey, you should call him. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go down next weekend. I'll be there. And it so happened, I think for him, it was, his aorta was calcified. And so they were going to try to go in to fix that, but he did not make it past and I'm forever telling myself, you know what? I should have talked to him. I should have called him, you know? I was telling him, because he felt very comfortable talking to me. Mm-hmm. But there was a story that he said, you know, because he's always been kind of behind, up against the wall when it comes to believing in a higher power, a deity, a God. But there was one time, and I think people that know him probably know this story. that one time he was on social media, right? And he started to make like just a mockery. Like, in other words, he was always saying Krom, that he's going to pray to Krom, from Conan,
Yeah.
right? Trying to make kind of like a mockery, saying that it's the same thing as Greek mythology. And so in his feed, there was a Satanist. You went to his page, it was all stuff del diablo, right? And to me, this is the type of person I am. I don't get anybody's politics or religion, but I did tell him the same exact thing. I don't get into people's faith or religion. That's your prerogative. That's your belief. I have mine. But something's telling me, just be careful. The next day, they found out his sugars. He was diabetic. His kidneys were shot due to the kind of lifestyle that he lived. And he went into a coma, diabetic coma. And so when the doctors told his mom that, he should have been on dialysis all this time, and he's probably gonna make it. And she was devastated, as any mother would be. So she says, I know that my son didn't like this, but can we have somebody give him a form of last rites? Whatever faith y'all have here. Well, it so happened they had a Catholic priest. And so this was his story that he told me, right? And I think he may have told other people, or he may even posted it online. The priest comes, put the oil, he wakes up. But he thinks he's at home, that his mother is doing this, and, he's so mad, he's cussing. He doesn't even realize he's in the hospital. He cusses out his mom, he cusses out the priest. I don't believe in this, effing S. And, get out, just get out, get out, get out. So they figure, well, we'll just leave him alone for now, let him get his thoughts together. Now, this is what he said he experienced next. He said, I looked down, Adriel, and every single nightmare you've ever had, times 1,000,000. After that, I felt like a giant serpent. I'm getting like chills telling this story. Wrap around me and began to squeeze, and it felt like it had daggers. And he said at that point, he started crying. He says, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for mocking you. If that's where I need to go, so be it. He's given a second chance, right? This was his story, what he told me, right? And I hope and pray that he did find peace within himself and with the big guy upstairs.
Throughout history, God has always used people like that, people that always rejected him, people that you did not expect he would favor, and he would end up being their favor. David was like that. A lot of instances. What was it? Peter.
Was he the one that he said, "You're blessed because you see, but blessed are those who see and still believe"? It was to Peter that he talked to, right? Yeah, that's one of the I remember about Peter big time, because he was against Jesus, right? Mm-hmm. And he was the one that he went blind.
He was skeptical. Yeah, he was real skeptical about it, and until God convinced him.
Yeah,
he went out into the ocean. He put a boat full of fish because he was a fisherman. And when they caught the big catch, when nobody was catching anything, he was astonished and floored, and that's how he became, a follower.
Perfectly. Now, when they always show pictures of him, they always portray him as a looking European, right? Mm-hmm. So, did you think he looks like that, or more like, kind of Middle Eastern? Because Middle Eastern, like he's more with an olive skin. He may have had short hair. Not long hairs. How do you think he looked?
I honestly, I don't know. I mean, I think he had the longer hair, I think, and he did have the beard because, he traveled a lot, walked a lot. So, I what he looked like, that could be up to, it's what do you feel like when you pray? What do you feel like? Does he intervene in your life? If not, maybe you should second guess something that's going on in your life, fix something perhaps.
Sure.
If just on this note, God blesses people, but so does the devil. The devil blesses you too. And sometimes you don't see it. You're thinking it's a God's blessing. Sometimes you don't see it until you're put in a situation to where you realize that, oh, wait a minute, I'm being gifted by something else. And then as soon as you start to make that life change back to Christ, if you don't believe it, and you start making that life change, then you start noticing that, wow, bad things are happening. All these bad things are happening because now there's a war happening.
Yes,
Good and bad are
spiritual
fighting.
war.
So you got to pray for an assignment to come down and help you out, to back you up. You are no longer in this battle alone. Now you picked a fight, and there's a fight going on. But if you stay strong, if you stay focused, and you realize those things, then you can get on the right side of things, and then you'll be protected.
Yes.
But you have to get through that struggle in order to overcome and persevere.
And I think if you don't have that, you don't have that protection. The darkness seeps in, and people do bad things, right? And what are we seeing today? You know,
I pray for all those people in Iran that are woke up this morning and there's a field of dead bodies. They're trying to identify mothers looking for their children, fathers looking for their sons. There's all kinds of chaos. We're in an uproar. I mean, this stuff has always been happening, but it seems just like a little different now as these years start progressing. I think we've been headed towards the wrong direction for a very long time. And eventually, like everything else, something's got to give.
Yeah.
Something's got to give. It can't go on this way.
Yeah.
It just can't.
Yeah, but just like you say, you pray for people to open their hearts to God, but it also says that it's going to get to a point where some people, and we're seeing it now, that their hearts are hardened. You can't enter. And I feel sad and for those people, right? Because this right here is temporary, right?
Yeah. This is just a suitcase for your soul, like Willie Nelson said.
Yeah, and afterwards, where is it going to be? Where is it going to spend its time afterwards? You know, life is short. Enjoy it, you know, but also try. I like his outlook on life. He's a good man, right? And I wish more people thought like him. You know, like-minded. Me being the type of job I have to work. Like one time I worked with an individual that thought that Christianity was stupid. Said it to my face. And said that, you know, just like we were saying earlier, it's like Greek mythology. It's the same thing. You go to this building and you're praying to an invisible person in the sky. And I just had this look at him. He goes, "Are you a Christian?" Yeah. He goes, "Oh man, I'm sorry." I go, "No, it's your feelings, it's your thoughts. I mean, I feel sorry you feel that way, but I'm not getting mad. You know, that's his right. Didn't God give us free will? That's what he's choosing. And I feel sorry for him. I pray for him that he changes his ways of thinking, but that falls on him." Mm-hmm. But when it gets back to, I didn't get offended. I still helped and worked with him the same way. In my work, I worked with 2 pagan witches. I worked with somebody that had the statues of the Santa Muerte in their house. You know, you know, I treat them all the same, right?
We're human beings, man.
Because isn't that like, you're going back to that story of Jesus with the apostles? Remember, across from them there were the tax collectors.
Yes.
And then he goes over there. And which is the one that tells him, "Why are you going over there?"
Peter
again? Peter
okay. Got in his face.
And he goes, and what did he tell them? He goes, "Be careful, Peter. They may enter the kingdom of heaven before you do."
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they can probably see, going by there, they can see the errors of their ways by talking to him, you know, which he tend to have that effect. Look at the effect he had on the world, right?
I think the turning point for Peter during that moment is when he followed Jesus to Judas, I think, I believe, Levi is I think that was the tax collector's name. He followed them to his house, and Jesus noticed that Peter was watching from the outside, and the tax collector said, "What do you want? Do you want to listen to a song? Do you want to eat something?" And go, "Preach to us. Preach us something." He says, "No, I'll tell you a story." And that's when he told them about the son who was given everything.
Yes.
And
comes back. And he does a big party for him, and Yeah.
And he says, why did you do that? He ran away. He drank all his money. He partied. He was, you know, he left us. And why are you having this big party for him? I've been working on the fields all day.
I've done everything you said.
I've done everything you said, and everything is according to your word. And yet here we are. We slaughtered a cow for this, for your
Someone
son.
who defied you.
Defied you. And so he says, look, man, he was lost and he is now found.
Yes.
He was hungry and now he's being fed.
Yeah.
He was naked and now he's clothed. I mean, all of those
That's
things
a great
is
story.
part for celebration. And that's what made the two enemies, you know, one came in, the other came, and after that, they were good.
They're good. That reminds me of a story. That same exact story. I did a retreat about 10 years ago, and the priest was from Nigeria. When I did the retreat, yo hizo en español. So after he tells that same story, right, of the two apostles, right? Because we were outside when we did this. We had made a campfire outside. Because you're familiar with retreats, right?
Yeah.
And so we were out there, and then he comes and he picks up the guitar. Remember, he's from Nigeria. And he started singing Puño de Tierra.
That's not where I thought you were taking this conversation, okay?
And
Tell me he didn't bust out a bottle of tequila after.
Yeah. And so like we were like all freaking out, you know, because this was a Thursday night. It starts on a Thursday, right? And he was going to be the main priest. So we didn't know anything about him because he was new. He was new to the parish. And so they asked him, Padre, ¿de dónde eres? And you know what he said? Michoacán. He wasn't from Michoacán. But you know, but we were thinking, no, es broma. No soy de Michoacán.
Oh my goodness.
That's hilarious.
That's crazy.
I think we got like about 6 more minutes if we can continue with some more content. Thank you so much once again, Andy, for agreeing to come on my podcast journey here.
Anytime, man. No problem.
I wanted to like kind of like, you know, also what I'm doing here, if there's anything that you would like to, you know, promote or talk about to push out there, use my platform for promoting yourself. If there's anything that you say that, you know, I know you're in your band. When's y'all's next gig?
Oh, we're doing a cowboy breakfast on the 30th at Papi Gallo.
At Papi Gallo. Is that the one downtown?
I don't know. I think it's on Commercial. It's on Commercial.
Commercial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on.
You're looking out from what day?
That's January 30th.
January 30th.
At Papi Gallo's.
Papi Gallo's. You know, check it out. Even
the south side of town.
The south side of town. What day?
It's an early gig. I think there's a.
Oh, it's like cowboy breakfast, right?
Oh, check this out. It's cowboy breakfast. There's an 8:30 norteño band. All right. That's 8:30 in the morning, and then at 10 o'clock there's a Colombian cumbia
band that's gonna play.
And then we go on at noon playing classic rock.
Classic rock. So they're gonna have a whole spectrum of genres of music.
I don't know how that's gonna work out, but hey.
Well, they do it during fiesta.
Roll the dice.
I know, because you have like, you know, different areas. Like if you go through
somehow they make it work at fiesta when they do that. So I'm hoping this works.
I'm more than sure it is, right? Because is it like a benefit for?
No,
just a thing.
That benefit for drunk people.
Yeah, so, and I'm pretty sure like nowadays, because everything is so diverse as far as we were talking earlier about like music being infused. So I don't think that people really have a problem with that. Because when you you go to now a reception and you have a DJ, he's not sticking to just one genre of music.
That's right.
So people have this perspective of, I think they'd be totally cool with having those different bands play.
Well, it's like, it's basically our generation. The newer generation, I think they have bands, but they're covering their music and they want to do their thing. Then that's great. That's all fine and dandy. But the bands that are out there that are cover bands that are covering music, they're our age, bro. Like if you take all of us at our age out of the music scene, you will have a crash in musicians because there's a lot of people our age, 30, 40, 50 genre, 60s, and my band too, they're 60-year-old. These guys are still crushing it, man. They're still crushing it. They got the skills, they got the chops, they got the voices. I mean, all that's on point. It's just a different genres, different things going on. We used to take these heavy analog speakers everywhere and
big bulky, heavy things.
Nowadays, everybody just plug it into laptops and
They're gone. They
You're good to go. Inner ears. You don't even need amps, man.
like speaking of that,
analog.
like when I went to that show in Austin, this band Dirty Honey, they said they say many of their influences like the Black Crowes, but if you hear
can
like
hear
their sound and see the Black Crowes was kind of like Southern blues, rock from the 70s. So this band, they're young kids. They're like maybe in their 30s, right, at the oldest. But everybody in the crowd was people our age.
Exactly. We're the only ones out there. That's what I'm saying. Like the musician like people. This is our genre, man. It's all our Gen X people, man. I love them, man. We're a generation that's seen the attitudes of people that are descended from the 50s, the 60s. We've been involved in the 70s. We were 80s, 90s, 2000s. We know the whole range of
The whole spectrum of the different pop culture changes from that time
We've
frame.
been there through it all, man.
And I think the music, we had the best music. Gen X does have the best music because you'll even ask like my son who's Gen Z, and you ask him what's your favorite song? And you know what his favorite song is? He'll tell you, Kickstart My Heart from Motley Crue.
Okay, yeah. Well, and how many of the newer bands are covering our stuff?
Yeah.
Everybody's covering.
Everybody's covering it.
There's very few original. The only one I can think of at the top of my head that does original stuff, Eminem, I guess. He can just go off.
He does stuff like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of that dude that used to come, he's got a game show that comes on the afternoon. I forget what his name is. He was the guy that replaced Dave Chappelle. I can't remember what his name is.
Wayne Brady?
Wayne Brady, yeah. He can make up stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
On the fly.
yeah.
He's
real good, actually. He can sing like Brian McKnight. He does that good R&B. He's got a good vocal. He's smooth with it, too.
Oh,
yeah.
So as far as, real quick here, going here towards the end, as far as vocalists, in English and Spanish, who are your top vocalists that you like, voices? Any genres?
Man, Sebastian Bach has got to be one of them. But I mean, you have Kip Winger too, man.
Yeah.
He had that high range, bro.
Yeah,
Kip
yeah.
Winger, like, "Headed for a heartbreak." Oh my gosh. What is that? Angel Line.
Oh yeah, Steelheart.
You.
Yeah.
Man.
Angel eyes, you have angel eyes, so just let you go.
And so I mean, there's a lot, bro. There's a lot. You pick your own poison, but I mean, I think Chris Stapleton.
Liquor was the only love I'd known. But you rescued me.
It's great vocalist too.
Yeah.
He is awesome because he could country, he could do rock.
He's got that soulful voice.
He could do R&B. I saw that guy go into the Apollo Theater, and there was a totally big, huge crowd, and he just goes in there, and there's musicians were all black. The audience was all black.
Yeah,
They were just out there, man. And he goes up there and he does, "This is a man's world. This is a man's world." I mean, just knocked it out. Everybody was like, "What?" I mean, he can go from that to country to R&B to he's so diversified. So I mean, he's one of my all-time favorites.
And Latin artist, who would you say?
Ooh, who do you like?
Good, Selena.
Sin embargo, te deseo lo mejor. Si en mí no encontraste, pero ay, cómo me duele.
Yeah, Selena was good. I always thought Joe Lopez had a good voice.
Yeah, good voice.
I think as far as vocalists go, that had a real good full tone with lows, mids, and highs. Jay Perez.
Jay Perez is good.
I think he
was
real good.
I liked him when he was with David Lee Garza, right? His sound, because and I know Tejano has a little bit more of a jazz sound, and I mean that's okay, but I'm not too much into jazz. So when his solo material, tremendous vocals, but it's just the style of his music. I didn't.
His solo material, he that was really jazzy.
It's super jazzy, and that's okay if you're into jazz. But I'm not really into jazz. I'm into like everything. The only thing I can't get into is like mumble rap and like banda. right? Banda music. Everything else, dude, I love, because, I had a DJ business back in 2003, right? So, and even once in a while I'll dabble. I have like a small little PA, like there at the nursing home. They have different events for the residents.
Yeah.
And like a fall festival, Christmas, I was playing music for them. And what I can do is I read the room. I can see how the
There
people
you
are
go.
responding to the music.
Very hard not to. Yeah, I do that. I do that a lot too. Even when I go into a regular strange place or just
You read the room, right? And so but thanks to that, I can tell more or less what they want to hear.
exactly.
And so I always thought, like if I ever didn't, I might fart around with it, here and that. But I don't know. Back then, like you said, those analog speakers. In 2003 is when I did it. God, they were pesado, right?
So
And it was
heavy.
when it was just me lugging that stuff around. But you know what happened? One time, Arnold Menchaca was having with his wife and his in-laws a family reunion in Eagle Pass. So I think it was, I don't remember how big the speakers were. It was 2 huge ones, and they had a pole, and I think they were 15-inch
Yeah.
on the top,
Yeah,
right?
immense.
And then I had the brain, what I guess called the mixer, right?
Yeah.
I had that. That thing was heavy. So I rented a U-Haul to go up there, and I did the show, the party, right? So I come back, and now and I was thinking, like, this thing is heavy. I don't need to strap it down. Right? That brain. I had it right there towards where the door is at of the U-Haul trailer. And so I got to the checkpoint, and the Border Patrol agent wanted to look inside. So I opened it and let him see. Now these U-Haul trucks, when you close them, there's a bar and there's a hook that hooks it like that.
Latches it on.
Okay. What I did is I closed it and I put the hook like this.
Oh, over it.
Yeah.
So when you open it, that door's gonna.
So I drove off and see, I was pulling my truck, and that door to the U-Haul trailer, it's way back there. So I drove all the way to San Antonio. That door opened.
No.
God.
Dang.
I went back looking for it. I mean, thank God there was nobody behind me, because that thing's heavy. Imagine it would have hit a car.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's gone. It was like $2,000.
Yeah.
It was gone.
Dang. Ouch.
But anyway, once again, Andy on the 31st, Black Thunder, right? This is a band.
Sure.
Go check them out. They rock. I've seen them live and perform. You'll have a blast. All calling the genres of music. Hasta la próxima. Vos vemos. Peace, Mr.
Ciao.
Device. Once again, thanks, brother.
Thanks, brother.
God bless you, man.
Thank you, sir.